Next week, the 19th Annual International AIDS Conference kicks off in Washington, D.C., the first time ever held in this country. And for the folks over at HBO, the timing couldn't be better. On Monday, they will air a documentary honoring a gay activist who was among the first to raise awareness about the disease, but fought to end the marginalization as well of the LGBT community by both mainstream society and Hollywood.
If you're going to talk about the gay rights movement, you're going to talk about VITO.
I mean, when do you people get angry?
Because something this natural couldn't be wrong.
These people are debating whether or not you have the right to live, and you're not part of the discussion.
He was the first person to write about how Hollywood treated homosexuals.
I remember VITO as our first gay celebrity.
It's real important that whether I live or whether I die, that I fight.
He took a stand. He is our gay hero.
Jeffrey Schwarz is the producer and director of the documentary, and he joins me here in studio now. We kind of gave everybody a sneak peek while we were showing the trailer because you popped up on camera there for a sec. But Jeffrey, it's nice to have you here, and as we were talking about in the break, this has been a labor of love for you for almost 20 years to get this made. Why is that?
Well, I read The Celluloid Closet, which was the book that VITO wrote that came out in 1981. It's probably the book that he's most famous for. It was a book that talked about how gay and lesbian characters were represented on screen from the silent era into the 1970s and 80s when he wrote the book. And we were presented in ways that were not always so pretty. We were presented as psychopaths and serial killers or suicide victims. Usually the gay or lesbian character killed themselves or was killed at the end of the movie, or we were portrayed as just sort of the frivolous comic relief. So VITO was really the first person to look at how we're portrayed in movies and how that did some great psychic damage to the gay community.
In studying VITO and now bringing this documentary to life on HBO, was there a pivotal moment where VITO shot to the forefront to be a heroic figure, a collective guide to the LGBT community?
Well, VITO came of age during the Stonewall years, and right after the Stonewall Rebellion in New York City, he joined the gay liberation movement. And it was during the gay liberation movement that he really got in touch with his true nature and his calling as an out gay person. And this was a very unusual avant-garde thing to be in the early 1970s, to be out. And he put himself out there as an example of how you can live an openly gay life and the sky wouldn't fall on top of you. And then later during the AIDS crisis, he put himself out there as a person with AIDS, wanting to make the disease visible for people at a time when there was great hysteria over the disease and misinformation and fear.
What would you think he would say about your movie today? To know that you've made him into this iconic hero, a modern-day LGBT voice, someone that the LGBT community doesn't have, a lot of big historic leaders, and he's coming to the forefront now in 2012.
Well, part of the reason I made VITO was to reinvigorate his memory and introduce him to the next generation of gay and lesbian kids who are just coming out now who might not have heard of him. But in telling VITO's story, it was also an opportunity to tell the story of the gay and lesbian civil rights movement from the dark days before Stonewall all the way through the AIDS crisis and ACT UP.
All right, so people can check this out. Again, it's going to premiere on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern on HBO, the movie documentary called VITO. Jeffrey Schwarz, the director, producer. Great to have you here. Thanks so much.
Great to be here. Thank you.